Oh no.
Sarah. Move your hands, baby. I know, baby, I know. Listen to me, I know this hurts, baby. You're gonna be okay, baby. Stay with me. All right, I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby, I know it hurts. Come on, baby, please. I know, baby, I know. Sarah. Baby.
I know you guys just saw that greatness right there. That was The Last of Us Part 1. That was right before you about to explore this crazy journey, right? And after that cutscene, when you start playing again, it says 20 years later. Joel's much older, and that's when you met Ellie. Ellie was at that time 14 years old, right? So whatever trailer we just saw with The Last of Us Part 2, I now question, was that a flashback? Because if so, it could only be like 14 years back or 15 years back while she was early in her pregnancy. That's why the knife was at her stomach, right? Because Joel was 20 years prior to that. It was way before that. So now I'm thinking, when did this outbreak really happen? Because when Joel and his daughter was still a thing in the beginning of the first game, we started seeing that these clickers were already infected. There was people already infected. Now in the case of Ellie's mom, if that is her and that's a flashback, how many years later was that? So I just wanted to try to see if I could connect the pieces. Some of you guys might even be confused at this shit. Whatever, just start this fucking video.
Whoa, 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 yeah. Wake up, fuck your bitch before I pay.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy 3G. We back with another video. Now, I watched BG Video. For those who don't know who BG is, it's my homie, Broken Games HD. He does a podcast show on his Weapon Wheel podcast channel. You guys should check it out every Sunday. He also has a Brooklyn Skill Tree channel where he just talks gaming news, has a podcast there, which most of the time I'm featured on it with Red Infamy. It's a dope ass channel. You should go definitely check it out. So I normally go on there to binge watch a lot of videos throughout the week. And I seen a video that he uploaded, which was about The Last of Us Part 2, how the trailer was too violent. Not him speaking on his personal opinion that it was too violent, but the fact that a lot of outlets such as Polygon, IGN were saying how the trailer was too violent. So I decided, let me go ahead and read these articles myself. And I thought it was just bullshit. I couldn't even believe that I read half of these people's articles, and I just felt like they haven't played the first one, nor have they even understood anything of this trailer, because I got so much from this trailer. I don't know about you guys, but this trailer wasn't made to have flat out details or flat out ideas. It was to create a conversation. I think it was to create a discussion, to have us all wondering, to give us like these predictions, assumptions, to make us think, theories and all this other craziness. I think this trailer was put out perfectly at the perfect time, and this trailer actually told me that this game ain't ready anytime soon. And I'm glad they didn't put something out where clearly we see Ellie, you know, doing something specific, because why? It's too early. Had they dropped us a trailer where most of these video games are dropping trailers where it shows so much and we don't get the game for 2 years, that's how a lot of games get died out too quick. We lose hype for this. But this is actually building up more hype for the game, and in fact this causes a lot of questions that needs to be answered in the gaming industry, where we ask ourselves, yo, who was that woman that was almost hung to death, whatever? Who was that woman that had the knife to her stomach? Or who are those people who helped her out? And who was that woman that almost killed her? You know, that caused a lot for discussion. So for me to think like, yo, this had no context, that just means that either I didn't play the first one, I didn't listen to Neil Druckmann during his interviews, and I didn't pay attention to any of the dev diaries, and that's what I got from half of these articles. So I'm gonna read them right here real quick before I go off even more. IGN put out an article and it was called Opinion. The Last of Us Part 2's trailer has missed the point. So they praised Part 1 in the first paragraph, and in Part 2 they said, since the game's trailer debuted during Sony's Paris Games Week on Monday, it feels a little bit out of touch. And it says, in under just 5 minutes, the trailer, which you can watch below, shows corpses hanging from a freeway sign, a hunting knife being dragged across a woman's stomach, a different woman having her arm broken by a claw hammer, and all this other jazz. It looked good in my opinion. It looked fire because I understand the story. I see the context. I understand everything that's going on. And I don't even want to read the rest of it because it's all bullshit. They did quote, this trailer only feeds into the mainstream media's narrative. And then they also wrote, Joel and Ellie felt more like human beings than video game characters. Now, this is what I'm going to say. I don't blame them for saying that part, because I do get attached to video game characters. That's really what creates, you know, that connection between you and a video game character. I love Kratos. That's why a lot of us was bothered when we seen that the voice actor for Kratos was, replaced, because we grew so attached to Kratos all these years to see a whole different character. Doesn't matter if he sounds masculine or not, that's not the point. We grew to love Kratos for who he was, his whole persona, his background, his story, and of course the voice actor, because it just showed who he was. We believed the character even by the voice himself. So of course it bothered a lot of us. So I can see why they're saying that it doesn't feel like human beings, but at the same time, you took this trailer in a whole different direction, and I feel like they created more kind of like a controversial thing because they wanted to get clicks and views on their site. We all know IGN is still going to get a free copy of the game to review and all the other jazz, but this was just a way to create clicks. So I'm not even going to bother reading the rest of their article. The next one is from Forbes. Now, Forbes decided to do an article, and they wrote The Last of Us 2. Now, the guy's name is Eric Kane. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not called The Last of Us 2, sir. It's The Last of Us Part 2, which insinuates that this is going to be a continuation maybe a couple years later. It says, the trailer made me sick to my stomach. So the guy's name is Eric Kane, by the way. He puts his bio right there. He said, there is no denying that The Last of Us 2, Part 2, sir, the trailer was amazing in its own way. Graphically, the game is looking every bit as stunning as you would expect. He said, but I'm going to skip a paragraph. He goes, but in spite of all that, I just found myself cringing while watching this video. The violence is incredibly brutal. If the entire game is this grim, I'm not sure how much I'll enjoy it. What? Now I'm gonna read another paragraph. He wrote, I love The Last of Us, but that's largely because its horrific moments of violence are offset by a story of love and companionship that remains one of the most, I don't know what the hell that word means, in video game stories I've ever experienced. He wrote, that's not the case in Part 2. He wrote in quotes, if the first game was really about love between these two characters, this story is the counter of that. Game director Neil Druckmann said at PSX last December, this story is about the hate through Ellie this time. The first game you played as Joel, and this game you play as Ellie. Let me just say this right now. This guy makes it seem like they had a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. It was never to that. Now, that's the thing, though. Joel and Ellie wasn't like husband-wife type shit. I don't know why he made it seem like that. It was basically a bittersweet relationship between them two. It was almost like the stepdad and the stepdaughter who didn't get along. And as they progress in the story, they both went through crazy events where you see Ellie on her toes, man. She was out here kicking ass. She was a badass in the game. And as you see in the cutscenes and everything, they progressed and this relationship was built like a father and daughter relationship. And that's why his views changed during the midway of the actual game. And you notice like he was drawing back from some of the stuff. Like when he seen that she had to be sacrificed just for this vaccine, he was like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. And obviously she wasn't aware of the whole thing. So I actually like that build up with their relationship, but he made it seem something totally different. Obviously, this guy ain't credible. I'm never going to listen to shit he has to say again. But let me go to Polygon. Polygon, they wrote this. I'm not even kidding. Polygon wrote this. Stop using extreme violence to sell your game. It's time to step back and recognize the connotation of imagery. By Julia Alexander. So she wrote, bones bludgeoned with hammers. A noose wrapped tightly around a struggling woman's neck. The blade of a knife passed into a vulnerable stomach. The gruesome imagery of Naughty Dog's manages to cram into a 5-minute trailer of The Last of Us Part 2 is physically uncomfortable to sit through. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna have to look up this chick and see what else she did articles on, or to even see if she has a gaming background or a history with playing games that are gruesome, or even if she even played The Last of Us. Because for her to even say this, I don't even think she played The Last of Us. There's no way. She probably played Super Mario. There's no way. The Last of Us was gruesome. The Last of Us Part 1, I think, had its moments. This shit was gruesome. But I don't think graphically it was to that, to that level to where we was like, oh my God, that shit's insane. See, obviously with The Last of Us Part 2, we see how much graphically improved this game has gotten. So obviously it looks more better. It looks more detailed. But no, what she just said right here, you lose all credibility. Now, let me go ahead and read you just these last two bits this person wrote, because I don't even want to read the rest of this joke. She wrote, a trailer is a pitch to its audience of what to expect from the full game. In the past, Naughty Dog's trailers have captured a particular mood or suggest a compelling relationship. But here, the promise is almost exclusively gore. There's an argument to be made that the trailer raises an enticing question. Why are these women being attacked? Really? You're bringing women into this? But that mystery is both too familiar and too broad. Let me just tell you guys something. I don't think Naughty Dog is targeting women, so hopefully she doesn't go there. But another thing too, let me just read this last sentence. Without any context, the trailer fails to introduce or even really tease the story players will embark on. That is its problem. Naughty Dog is brilliant for this, in fact, because what it did is it caused a bunch of people to make articles like this being sensitive. It made people think like there's no context. And actually, I got a lot from this because it made me question whether or not now are we going to get flashbacks of how this really started, or we're going to get a little bit of background now, because now that the story is focused on Ellie, we have to get new characters. We have to get characters that are probably connected with Ellie and her family or whoever. We are assuming that that was her mom that was being hung. The knife to the stomach was probably because she was pregnant at the time, and they probably were going after her because they felt like maybe she had the cure of something. There was probably something going on, right? So what did this trailer cause? It caused a huge discussion. It caused us to make a bunch of videos. It caused us to raise a bunch of awareness, like, yo, what's going on? What's gonna happen next? That was, in my opinion, the point of this trailer. It had us wondering, where's the connection? Who is that? Why is this person here? That's the point. It wasn't made for people to just look at it like, oh my God, this is too gruesome. Oh my God, why would you put a trailer out like this? Let me write an article. It wasn't made for that. It was literally a buildup. Now, anytime, whenever this comes out, but if we ever get another trailer anytime soon this year, it's probably going to be another follow-up. It's going to probably have something where you do see Ellie, or it's going to probably have a trailer where we see Joel somewhere or something. It's going to be a buildup. And the reason why I feel like this trailer came out in this fashion, where it really doesn't explain much, you just have to really look at it and think to yourself and just ask yourself, like, who is this? And try to help answer it yourself. Like, yo, I think it might be her mom, or I think it might be the Fireflies, or I think it might be who, what, where, when. And that was the point. And I don't think this game is finished. I don't think they would want to go that route where many video games, they drop a fucking trailer showing all the characters and what you're gonna do, but yet the game ain't gonna come out in 2 years. See, that's the problem. So what they did here was they gave us something, and now we're all speculating like, yo, who can this be? What is the story gonna be about? Is there flashbacks in this game? Is this current? What's going on? And that caused a discussion. Happens. Now I think Sony execs defends that very violent Last of Us 2 trailer. And let me see what they wrote. It said the newest trailer of The Last of Us Part 2 that aired during Sony's briefing at Paris Game Weeks generated a lot of discussion over its level of violence. We saw an arm broken with a hammer. We saw people hanged. We saw an arrow through the face. It was unquestionable violence. Now, PlayStation executive Jim Ryan has responded to the criticism, saying in a new interview that The Telegraph that The Last of Us 2 obviously is a game made by adults to be played by adults. I like that. He said, I should never prejudge this, but it was probably rated 18. I think it's fair to say, Ryan explained. And there's that market for those people who like that sort of game. Adults who like that sort of game, and I think we cater for that. He also goes on to say that Sony's role as a platform holder is to give developers a platform to showcase their games, whatever they might be. Sony does have a job to do what it can to ensure content is age appropriate. He acknowledged, I thought The Last of Us 2 trailer was a great way to end the show, and I feel very good about it. I feel great about that shit. Honestly, it just upsets me because, you know, these gaming journalists want to speak out on this shit, and they really want to come out, you know, saying all this. I think it's for clicks and views. That's all I look at it for. You know, when IGN puts 10 out of 10, I think it's for clicks and views. And I'd rather that, honestly, than to see some BS like this, where they're saying something is too violent. Because when GTA first came out, they did the same thing. And then I think Lindsay Lohan tried to sue. Like, all that shit is bullshit. But I got one thing to say. Gaming journalists, I think the ones that just reported this don't even play games. I need to see what's their library looking like. Because remember, we have gaming journalists who don't know how to play video games, aka Cuphead, one of the most easiest to learn type of games. This dude had the tutorial on screen. He couldn't even play the game. He didn't know how to play the game. Then you had dudes misreporting shit, misinformation, where he thought Uncharted 2 was Uncharted 4. Y'all remember that? Yeah, listen, y'all lost all credibility. And this is just added to the fuckery. Man, get the fuck out of here with this shit. Listen, Last of Us 2's trailer may not have explained much at all, but it definitely raised a lot of questions. It definitely had us creating discussions, creating conversation, making videos, wondering what the hell is going on. And it makes it much more better, because what's going to happen is we're going to feed into it. We're going to learn more about these characters and soon interviews and whatnot. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, anything to gaming journalists, y'all need to first learn how to play some of these games, not on easy mode, at least normal at that. Y'all need to stop making it seem like shit was about love, companionship. Man, get the fuck out of here with that. You guys don't even know what y'all talking about. Look, but I'm out of here. Y'all could drop your thoughts in the comments below. It's your boy 3MG. Peace.
Yeah, I told you, the weather's cold, we're getting older. Things even change when it gets colder, but we'll move on just like I'm always. The sun is scarred, the sun's summer. Those were the days we stayed.